What is an adult problem that nobody prepared you for? Having to not only make important decisions by myself, I expected that much, but also having to do so in a timely fashion uninhibited by indecision. The death of the elder family and your rising name on that list. I was just ruminating earlier today with my station. It feels like I was 20 just yesterday. But then suddenly I have an adult daughter. I've buried grandparents and a parent. And now more voices turn to me than I can turn to myself. Deciding what's for dinner every night for the rest of my life. Vegetables die too soon in the fridge. Back pain. The inevitably of your parents dying. My dad just passed away and I'm 25. No one could have prepared me, I guess. The realization that $1,000 is not a lot of money to have. But it is a lot of money to owe someone. The incessant flow of bills. Phone. Water. Electricity. Insurance. Rent, mortgage also. College debt. Oh. And dental care. Kurt Vonnegut had it right when he said the trouble with getting older is you outlive your teeth. Aging parents. When to call a repairman and when you can amateurly fix it yourself. How much time you spend just doing stuff. Oh, need to replace my tire and that's over by the store. So while I replace the tire I can do some errands and I'll save time and be home in no time. 3 hours later, okay, just one more errand before I head home. Also, how putting off a small task just a couple days in a row can quickly amount to a longer chore responsibility later. I can just leave this in the sink. Get to it later before bed. X 2 days. Why is this grime caked onto this plate still? I've been scrubbing for 10 minutes straight. And when you have free time to do something fun, you're too mentally exhausted from doing all the things you have to do that you waste free time half watching TV and half scrolling through Reddit. Being sick and having to care for yourself. Like when you were younger, your parents would get the medicine. Or the medicine cabinet would just be stocked all the time. Etc. But here I am with a cold, having to build up the energy to go to the supermarket to buy some aspirin and throat lozenges all by myself. Careers. As a kid you hear what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's always nurse, doctor, fireman, game designer, etc. Which is all so simple. But then when you do start training working in that career and you realize you don't like it, it just feels like such a terrifying thing to now have to think of a new career identity. I'm pretty sure most of us spend a lot of time working through this crap. My career isn't viable. What do I do? And come to the conclusion that yeah, it actually does make you more sane working in a shop or whatever. Then going home at night having paid the bills and not stressing. The combo between lack of income and plenty of debt. That you see the dead body of a parent one day and have to be next to the desperate surviving parent and try to comfort while you're desperate yourself. All the laundry. Good grief, does it pile up? The endless cleaning. I had chores when I was a kid. But I had zero clue how much actual work went into keeping house. I cleaned my house this morning and by midweek it'll be a war zone of pet hair, crumbs, and dust. Controlling your finances. Everything I have learned about budgeting, debt recovery, pensions, saving, and wise purchases I have had to learn for myself. A lack of community. Growing up you have your elementary school. Each day you see your friends and participate in activities together. Sometimes they move away and sometimes you do. But it largely stays the same through high school and middle school. Flash forward to adulthood and you're just alone. You want to make friends IRL, but have no idea how to go about doing it without seeming creepy, desperate, or God knows what. This is really hard when you are not overtly religious, so you cannot join a religious community. My friend and I talk about this from time to time. It's arguably the hardest thing to deal with in life. It gets worse the longer you live. As you know, you are outliving your generation. You telling me I gotta make food every day, often multiple times a day just to stay alive? You can go days on end without having to speak to a single person. At first it's a dream come true. After about 2 months you start talking to your toaster to pad the silence while waiting for your toast. That all those big things you thought you'd have time to do when you're older often become physically impossible to do when you're older even if you have the time. Making important life decisions. When you're young you have a safety net, but when you're an adult you're taking on risk that can influence successive years of your life. Same goes for single versus family. Edit. Basic home maintenance. When to change air filters. Smoke alarm batteries. Timing of lawn care. How often do you clean the gutters? Are you supposed to clean under the stove? What is edging? How do you recycle? How to change locks? Etc. I usually just go to the Google. Let's see. What is edging? No one helping you. How much harder it is to make friends. I kinda feel like if you hadn't already made some good friends by 25-26, you'll end up stuck with superficial friendships. Having to figure out what to eat 3 times a day. I'm still confused AF. Literally everyone is just pretending to have their shit together. Human lives are held together with duct tape. Edit. This blew up. Thank you, everyone. For those saying it's pessimistic or learned helplessness. I disagree. Emo. It means that everyone struggles with some parts of life and you shouldn't beat yourself up about not doing everything perfectly. The mental load of remembering everything that needs to be done. And project managing it all. House repairs, improvements. Finances. Cleaning. Laundry. Bills. Hiring people to do things. Trips to the vet for vaccines. Groceries. Car maintenance, and the list goes on. It takes up too much room in my head. How depressing and mundane working 40+ hours per week for 30+ years is. How much every injury you had as a kid didn't really heal. It just lay dormant until you woke up on your 38th birthday. Now it hurts all the time. The existential horror of being in a dead-end job with a horrible boss but can't afford to quit because you'll starve. Edit. Whoa. Just so you know guys, I'm better now. I left the job I didn't like and I enjoy my work now. Also, as some of you suggested, I've been doing my masters concurrently. I'm working towards my dream job in a university. Chronic back pain with no drugs that can help. How hard it is to keep friends. Don't even get me started on relationships. Edit. Thank you for all the awards. How ducking lonely you can be. Being absolutely exhausted most of the time. I never thought I'd be the I hate everyone guy. But I am, and everyone can FCK off. Edit. Thank you for the love. Being tired all the ducking time. Office politics. Edit. This is the way. How uneducated people are. Like. The complete lack of reasoning and critical thinking is astonishing. You can't even have a proper conversation with some people because they make up their minds and the conversation is over. Having to put up with so much crap from people in higher positions even though they're less competent than you. Because you need that paycheck. And as you get older, sometimes life circumstances trap you there. People still being bullies way past high school. Getting ordained for sissies. Can confirm. Age 80. Enjoy your youth, kids. It's fleeting. The adult problems that you can't be prepared for. Committing your sister to a mental hospital. Choosing to respect your mother's do not resuscitate when she stops breathing in the lazy boy watching Price is Right. Leaving your sibling in the homeless situation they've chosen because you've run out of options to try and help them and are now just hurting yourself. Becoming the financial anchor of your family because your father has been convicted of federal charges and is going to be in prison for 20 years. Life is real. And it will find you. No matter who you are. Your parents get old. People get sick. You end up becoming the decider of things no human should be burdened with. The disillusion that comes with realizing your parents had no actual clue what they were doing 86% of the time whilst raising you. If you don't love yourself as a teen, you're gonna have a ducking blast trying to learn it as an adult while supporting yourself. I wish I had tried harder as a teen to understand myself instead of drowning my emotions in WoW. Definitely not quicksand and piranhas, I'll tell you that. The childishness of other adults. I'm not sure when I will start feeling like an adult. I'm 40, married, and own a house. But I don't feel like an adult. The number of decisions I have to make. As a kid, you never have a lot of choice in what's for dinner, what to do on the weekend, where you live, your household income, what to do when your vehicle makes a funny noise, etc. Now that I have to look after all those things, I just wish someone would come along and tell me what to do half the time. Always having to be on. At work you need to meet goals and be on. At home with your kids you need to be on. With your spouse you need to be on. I'm very fortunate that my wife and I can just sit and veg in complete silence for hours. And nobody is internally freaking out. Parents are immortal. From a 16-year-old reading this thread. Stupid people are everywhere. As kids we are taught. In everything. Books. Movies. Cartoons. Whatever. It's good versus evil. Almost every story. Small or large. There are good people and there are bad people. As you get older you learn there are grey areas to that. Shades of good and bad. One thing I've learned in the last 10 years or so is how many stupid people are out there. And that some of what could be seen as evil or bad isn't someone being a villain. They might just be ducking dumb. You know that saying there's always one in a crowd. Alcoholism. Depression. Lack of hope. Having serious philosophical, religious, political disagreements with family. That depression doesn't go away after teenage hormones subside. Normal housing becoming a luxury and designed for two people to split the bills. How is this normal? People used to live in households where the wife didn't work and raised 3 kids on a single income. I make $50K a year and can't afford to live on my own. Fearing getting sick and not having enough sick days. Causing me to lose my job and the insurance that would have helped me get better from being sick. And related. Wondering why I lose so much of my paycheck to health insurance but then having to pay out of pocket and never hitting the maximum where my insurance actually pays anything. I didn't prepare myself of the fact that I might actually make it this far. Anus hair. Friendship as an adult sucks. Especially as a single. Childless woman of 30. Mean girls don't end after high school. If anything, they get worse. Being alone. Worry. Are the kids okay? Their grades. Job. Mental health. Can we make that bill this month? Is the dog getting sick? Is that a lump I should worry about? Is mum recovering from her fall? Did I remember to send flowers for the Mill's birthday? Witnessing the cognitive and physical degradation of my parents in real time. How much time is spent cleaning and doing laundry? And I live alone. Dealing and taking care of your parents when they get older. That high school drama. Mean girls. Bullies. Fights. Pressuring. Jealousy. Shitty talking. etc. don't just disappear once you're an adult. It's still there. It's just low-key worse now because it's 30-year-olds who now have a much better understanding of manipulation, power dynamics, and are much better at lying, victimizing themselves. And it's terrifying to know 50+ age isn't free either. The stupid drama my mom's friends complain to her about is wild. And the same with the older people I've gotten to know at various jobs. It's literally middle high school again, but everyone has a house and kids and copious amounts of wine and it never ends. How easy it is to become obese in the US. All adulting is get up, work, paycheck spent in 2 days on bills, die. That when you are shopping for homes in the US you should check if the area you plan on living raising kids in is a Superfund site. Superfund sites are locations in the US where there are higher levels of contaminants that cause health problems. I bought a house in the middle of a Superfund site for lead. Cue me getting told my 1-year-old has high levels of lead in his blood, not over the threshold. That moment when you realize it's not just a phase and you actually do need therapy. The never-ending to-do list that just seems to get longer. I just want to not have nothing to think about for just a moment. The fact that you don't magically become an adult when you turn 18. I'm still wrestling with that problem. Actually. The fact that nobody has any idea what's really going on and we're all just pretending that we do so we don't have a psychotic episode during our lunch break. Damn taxes. Having to cut your child off from a friend, classmate, peer who is simply a bad kid. Oh. My aching heart. But it's what must be done. Economic instability. Crippling despair. Rapid snap coiling of the penis. Last one sounds like a problem. Bowel problems. Having to dish tea even though you're poorly, slept badly, not in the mood. How expensive mattresses are. Like WTF is this shitty? So many of the complaints are only American problems. Like doing your own taxes. Worrying about healthcare. Taking time off work when having a baby. You guys really need to fight for more. Real heartbreak for the first time. Pants. When you're a kid, you don't wear out clothes. Because in 6 months, you've outgrown them. That slows down by the end of high school. And there's this weird transitory period where you slowly discover that you've worn out that really comfortable pair of jeans and have to replace them. And no. Holding on for a little longer just isn't an option. Being an adult. Rectal issues. My butthole has only 2 phases that I've titled Angry Monkey Paw and Baseball Glove Left Out in the Rain. Itchy scrotum. The older I get the itchier my bowel bag gets. Mental health disorders and productivity. I spent my whole HS and uni years doing my bare minimum to have a good curriculum and then discovered that my shitty time habits won't work in adult land. Dietary changes. My dad is a diabetic and my blood sugar is on the high end of normal. So my doctor told me to cut out sugar and only eat brown bread and rice. I don't mind the sugar. But ducking love normal rice and brown rice sucks. And costs 4 times as much. A lot of money but no time to enjoy it. This. But without a lot of money. The realization that you should have enjoyed being young to the fullest instead of trying to be an adult all the time. The isolation of being a single dad. Single parents don't have a fallback. Someone to carry the load for a couple minutes while you decompress and jump back in the fray. When you're one deep, there is no break. When you're not at work, you're at home. There is no going out, getting away, dating or adult time. I'm rural and don't have family or a sitter for my boys, so it's all on me. Having to be the one to plan one of your parents' funerals. My mom passed unexpectedly when she was 45. Not a responsibility I ever expected to happen when I was 25. How expensive pillows are. Like all of them. Even the small ones. Especially the small ones. The idea that you start losing people you care about at a much more regular intervals. Acid reflux getting worse. The fact that teeth are a luxury. I can afford all the delicious food. Too much food. Somebody stop me please. Being seriously sick and having to care for and comfort yourself. I'm currently huddled under 4 blankets fighting hot flashes and cramps from food poisoning and chills plus aches post-COVID shot. All I freaking want is my mama to give me hot tea. Turn on Rocco's Modern Life. and pat my back until I pass out and sleep through it. The problem is I am a mother in my mid-30s. And my mother is a nearly 70-year-old old granny who lives 2 states away. I miss my mom. Guys. Having a baby. Your life will change amazingly. Loneliness. Having the energy to do any of your hobbies after taking care of the things that help you survive. Car-related issues. I waited a really long time to drive, so by the time I was an adult I didn't know hardly anything about cars except what my dad taught me in previous years. I bought a cash car with a lot of problems. I had to replace the brakes, rotors, axles and a seat blower, and every person I talked to seemed like they already knew about this kind of stuff. The absurdity of life. Once you realize that you aren't forced to do anything because there really is no point of life. That you ultimately give life a meaning. That it's interesting how we don't go mad realizing that we are super advanced apes on a rock that's just orbiting through space, yet we find problems to give ourselves because we honestly have nothing better to do than to create these things in our life to almost spare our time here. That the majority are set up to be bled dry by a minority. That corporations are given so much free rein to invade your life that dealing with your tax returns, utilities companies, VAT, car insurance, house insurance, public liability insurance, life insurance, health insurance, phone company, mortgage lender, estate agent, credit card companies, finance companies, pension company, bank etc. requires the patience and dedication that could easily pass for a job. Before you have to go to work and your actual job. Deciding what to have for dinner every day. Everyone is busy and when they are not busy they're tired. Incontinence. That there's never a moment that you start to feel like an adult. People suck even worse than I thought. I naively thought people would be better the older I get. I was wrong. Very wrong. I have posted this before, but I was not prepared for making the sensible right decision my whole life and still have everything fall apart. Lost my job. Husband left. Became a single parent. Had major surgery. Entered a pandemic. And had all 3 of my kids develop significant mental health issues. Not enough time with my pets. In-laws. Getting your kids to eat well. I didn't read all the comments and I might repeat myself. 1. Paying taxes. 2. Cooking so I wouldn't starve to death. 3. The insane amount of mental fortitude required for me to keep the shitty job I don't like because otherwise I'll be homeless and broke. 4. They are still alive, hopefully for a long time. But the death of your parents. 5. Everything starts to hurt. Your arms. Your legs. Your back. Every single damn thing. How to deal with being the executor of an estate. Especially with outstanding decisions that haven't been made about assets. In addition to being on the cusp of losing my remaining parent, I'm bracing for a complete chow afterward. I can't even get advice from the estate lawyers cause all they want to do is take the reins and gouge us for more legal fees. Aimless existential horror. Having a severely disabled kid. I am in a completely different world from my lifelong friends. The stress and anxiety of what's going to happen to him after my wife and I die is sometimes unbearable. I try to use the energy to focus on the time we have now, but as a man in my late 30s I have cried myself to sleep many times thinking about what institution he may enter once we die. Will anyone love him? Will he understand why we are gone or feel like we abandoned him and don't love him? Best case scenario, as far as I can tell, is that he dies before us so that for his whole life we were there to love and support him. And, statistically, he will die before us since the disabled have shorter lifespans, unable to communicate symptoms. So, there's that. I've never written this out before. Hope you all are doing well. They all told me that working is gonna be hard. Truth is that my 9-5 is not even as hard as they made me believe. The thing that is killing me is how freaking boring life is with a 9-5. It's like living the Groundhog Day. Every day is the same. Sometimes even the small details. Now I have the money to spice things up. But I don't have the time to do so. Was jobless for 2 months because of corona. Happiest 2 months of the last 5 years since I started working. Marriage. I had one of those rare set of parents that had a great relationship. I'm sure it was a lot of work. But they made it look easy. A happy marriage is hard. Hard work.